Hey, welcome everybody. Uh, to
Welcome.
Welcome to Relax Time Radio's Sunday Jazz and Blues show. Um,
Yeah,
it's
with
me.
DJ Paul Sugars and DJ Naim here at the
Yeah,
present as well. I'm leaning forward a bit because my camera is at a bit of an odd angle, but I can't change it. It's okay.
I like
Just
it.
have to sit like.
I like
Yeah,
it.
you like it? Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
That's
Yeah,
better angle of me. Yeah.
yeah, it's better.
Oh, you don't see
It's
my
more.
double chin. You don't see my double chin that much. Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, the lighting is better than the last time I saw you. It's working.
That's a
It's
different
working.
room.
Yeah,
It's a different
yeah,
room. Yeah. I've got more daylight here, so that's good.
yeah, yeah. That's better. All
Okay.
right.
Cool.
So today we're mainly going to be playing music, but we have some news and info and updates for you. And also, I had quite a lot of requests because I made a post. You know, a friend of mine, Jake Harvey, died a couple of days ago, and a lot of his friends
Already here.
have sent in requests. So I have a bunch of requests to get through. In actual fact, do you mind if I just read through these requests right now? Because on the
No,
video we
please
won't
do it.
have them, but I'll be able to edit in this audio and put them in the radio show.
No,
So
please do it. Please do it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I won't read through all the music we're going to play, but I'll read through the requests. So
Yeah. Go
um,
for it, man.
not,
Important.
so I will be playing Amy Winehouse, You Know I'm No Good, and that's a request by Aron, Carthy for Jake. Then I've got a request from Gordon for Jake, which is Ballad of Easy Rider by the Byrds. Then that's a beautiful song, by the way. Then another beautiful song requested by Steve Locke for Jake is Fairport Convention, Who Knows Where the Time Goes. I'd never heard that song before, amazing song. Here's one I had heard many times, Riders on the Storm by The Doors, and that request is by Thomas Crabtree, also for Jake. Then actually, have I got to Steve Locke? No, okay. So Steve Locke has requested Motorhead, The Watcher, and another request was, and I've searched and looked for who made this request. I know someone sent it in, but I couldn't find it again. So sorry, but the song I've got. So this is Lovesong by The Cure. And I suppose lastly is just, that's all the requests I think that was sent in. I played a couple on Friday as well. The last one would be me, Bob Marley, Soul Shakedown Party. That's for you, Jake. Okay, so that's all the requests.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna. I mean, there's a new director in town as well, which is good. So thank you to Pan for listening to our show, which I know she will be, right?
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Pipan.
Happy to have you back. She used to be assistant director, now she's director, so it's good, right? I'm sure people miss her in Phang district, where she came from. She was a director of Radio Thailand in Phang. But now she's back in Chiang Mai, which is good. We're happy to have her back because she's such a sweet lady.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit today about the preparations for the rainy season, because that is coming up, and we've been very fortunate to see that there has been quite a bit of rain quite early in the season. Some years it comes quite late, and the drought can be very, very prolonged. So now there's quite a bit of steady rain over the last few days, which we've had.
Right.
Not torrential and not for hours on end, but you know, it really does help.
It's definitely more than average, and it's definitely cleared away a lot of the forest fires, that's for sure.
It's
maybe
cleared
not
away
all.
The forest fires. It has seriously cleared up the air by extension as well, of course. It has given the atmosphere a bit of a reprieve as well, because the temperatures have gone down a bit as well. It was just getting a bit too, I like it warm, but I don't like it too hot. Like if it goes to 38, 39, I get a bit bothered, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the air's been fantastic. I was out today, and the air's so clear that the sun was actually pretty hot, but burning hot, because the air is obviously much clearer. I've been out for a walk. I was out at not Tabe Gate. I was at Three Kings Monument, and me and a few other people were watching this fantastic sunset from there.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Great.
So.
I mean, well, I've seen news recently of this week that the municipalities around the city, around the old city, Talat, Sompet, and other places, are digging out the canals, the small canals, the sewage canals, or the canals that have to evacuate the water in and out of the city and make sure that everything flows. Also in preparation of perhaps simultaneously or very shortly after cleaning out all the drainage holes in the city, so we can prevent floods from happening. Now, if tropical rainstorms, it can be very, very heavy sometimes, so it can overwhelm the system a bit. But if they're cleaned and draining properly, the problem is resolved within a matter of hours normally, rather than standing there for days and putrefying, right? Which is not good.
So that's the canal. Is that the moat or other canal? Various canals are being.
No, it's small. It's smaller canals, like the one that passes under Kampengdin. They were digging out that one.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, they're eternally trying to clean out the Mekha Canal, but I think it's a bit of a challenge.
Sure.
But I mean, at least they're in preparation mode, which is good, right?
I saw that the I think it's 4 domestic carriers have resumed sort of limited flights.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
Yes, they have. So there's a few flights available now domestically, right? So internationally, incoming flights
not until 31st of May. Yeah.
There's flights going out. There's incoming flights as well, but only with cargo. So the supply chain is also still running. That's not an issue as such in these times of COVID-19, new virus COVID-19.
Right. I know. I saw a report from Chiang Mai Airport, so that there are a few flights. Not many people flying on them yet, but there's also quite heavy screening as the coronavirus screening at the airport.
Absolutely. And please do check if you have to travel. If you have to travel interprovincially, do check whether you will be put under quarantine or not where you arrive, because some provincial governors still hold up their quarantine requirements when someone arrives, even though it's a domestic arrival. So it might be that if you don't have your prepared paperwork showing the reason why you have to go there, or you don't have a registration of address of a hotel that you're going to go to, that you might be taken away and put into government quarantine or state quarantine, which will be, I mean, it's not inhumane. I've seen a documentary about it, but it might be less than ideal, and it could be putting a stripe through your plans or to your business goals, business and.
Do you have the information in front of you on the changes coming up on, is it May 3rd or 4th? The sort of easing.
Tomorrow. Well, today actually, it's today because we're pre-recording on Saturday, so it's tomorrow on the 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, actually, when we're broadcasting now, normally all restaurants are allowed. Well, not all restaurants. I have to be careful what I say. Let me go. I have the post here. Let me go. While you're looking that up, I know that spas and massage parlors are allowed to open, but with really? I was just looking. I was just looking, but they're only allowed to open with very strict rules. So in other words, it's like 1 client per room. Okay, I've got it right here. So it takes 6 types of venues to reopen on the 3rd of May 2020 with strict COVID-19 control measures.
Right.
And this is for Chiang Mai province, right?
Yeah.
So it's a follow-up of national measures. This is actually set out nationally. It can be changed by the Chiang Mai government. It could be made more tight. It could be made even loose, a bit more loose, but probably not.
Right.
Seeing that they try to err on the side of caution, which is good. So markets, number 1, can open. Fresh markets, flea markets, floating markets, community markets, walking streets, and street vendor operations. So people with push carts selling food. Walking streets, I was very surprised by. So normally the Sunday walking street tomorrow should be open. The night bazaar should be open tonight.
Right.
So that's surprising. Then the second one, and this is food shops, and it's people selling food, right? So it's restaurants and other things as well. Excluding those located in shopping malls, because the shopping malls not yet. So food shops, small restaurants, drink shops like the tea shops and the coffee shops, street food vendors, people who are selling street food on the side of the street on a pushcart but standing still, right? But not included necessarily in a market. It could be also street side. And then dessert and ice cream shops, they can also open. So people like tea rooms selling cakes.
But there are still, that's right, but there are still restrictions on people in groups larger than 10 though. Because I saw that, right?
Absolutely, yes, and also the seating plans, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later because that's an overview of all the precautions.
Okay.
So there's 6 categories, and then we'll say what the precautions have to be. So retail businesses such as supermarkets, convenience stores, carts and vendors, telecom shops, and small restaurants, again mentioned in there. Sports and recreation areas, public parks are open, outdoor sporting venues, with the exception of team and competition sports, which remain suspended because of the close people, of course.
Right.
Gyms are not allowed to open yet because they're indoors, so that's not allowed yet.
Right.
And then beauty salons, I think a lot of people will be happy about that, barbers and hairdressers. But only for hair cutting, washing, and blow drying. So no extensive dye jobs, no things where you have to be in the shop for more than an hour. And then pet salons and pet nurseries and pet hotels can also open again for business. And this is very good news for the asylums, the pet asylums as well, because they're included as well. So they can start at least placing dogs in foster homes nationally, at least again, domestically. They can't ship abroad yet, but they can place them domestically, which until today was forbidden actually as well. So there's a few, of course, like for the markets, it's confusing to me how they're going to do it, how they're going to enforce the social distancing. So we'll have to wait and see how that is done. But then for the small retail businesses in food and other things, the hand gels have to be there. The staff and also the customers have to be wearing mouth masks. Of course, in a restaurant, you can take off your mouth mask when you're eating. Otherwise, it becomes very hard. For restaurants and other places where you can dine, alcohol sales is still forbidden, even though alcohol sales for domestic consumption has been allowed also again since today. So you can go and buy alcohol since today as well. In Chiang Mai.
Really?
Yes, you didn't read it. It's been loosened up. So you can go back to the shops now.
That's interesting. The shopkeepers don't seem to know it because I talked to a couple of like the mini market and that because I'd read this news, but then I talked to them and they hadn't heard about it, which is which I found strange.
It was published in the Royal Gazette on Friday.
Okay.
So it's law, right? So the sales of alcohol is allowed in mini markets and the shops which are under these categories.
All right, I really didn't see that.
Only for domestic use, so you can drink it at home.
I did not see that.
Restaurants are not allowed to serve alcohol, for example.
Okay, right. Okay.
1 meter apart in between tables. Alcohol gels. Clean the bathroom every single hour. If you have bathrooms available to people, the bathrooms have to be cleaned every single hour. Very strong encouragement towards using digital currency if at all possible, or at least disinfect your currency if you can do that. Like my friend is ironing his bills in the restaurant every single day.
I've been going to
dunking the coins in Dettol.
I've been going to an omelette on rice place, takeaway in Santitam, and they have a pot of water bubbling away the whole time. And when anybody gives them money, it just goes straight in there. So they're
even the bills?
All of it, everything.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's plastic. You can do it. It's not destroyed by it.
Right. Yeah.
It's made out of plastic. It looks like paper, but it's made out of plastic, actually.
Yeah.
So. Fantastic.
Okay. Any other updates?
It's good, So people have to take precautions. Please be aware also as a client, as a customer, that these businesses, if they put demands on you as a client to be seated apart or to be, not to spend too much time on, for example, it's discouraged for all restaurants to allow people to sit and use the restaurants as co-working spaces and go and sit there with a computer for a couple of hours. It's of course you can enjoy your meal and the government understands that you want to enjoy after this time and that you have to sit with your friends and that you can enjoy and laugh. But don't use that as an excuse to go and sit somewhere for 3-4 hours because that is considered as too long. The time limit would be 2 hours. That's set forward as well.
Right.
Also for hairdressers, very important if you want to go to the hairdresser. Normally, they cannot have customers waiting inside their shop. So either you have to stand outside waiting while respecting the rules of social distancing, or you make an appointment and then you go in as as your appointment comes up. Of course, with the local barbers, they're not going to take appointments. It's such a fast turnover, 10-minute jobs, so you can just stand outside and wait, I guess.
Okay.
That's basically it. You have anything to add to that?
No, I don't have any further information. I suppose just a personal perspective. Obviously, you can see already that over the past, the city is sort of increasingly bustling again. There are more and more people out.
Yes, people are on the move. People are on the move. It's true. People are on the move a bit more. Yeah, I've seen that. I've noticed that as well.
I know that
yesterday as well, I went to one of the supermarkets here. It was absolutely bustling. And while everyone was being checked at the entry and everyone was wearing masks, I cannot say they were respecting the rules of social distancing at all.
Right.
When queuing at the cash registers, not at all.
I'm somewhat concerned as well, because I've all of the customers. I can see all customers in cafes and places buying takeaway food wearing masks, but not all of the vendors.
Yeah.
Not all of the vendors at cafes and restaurants are wearing masks.
They will be forced to close if the police catches them, because it's enforced by law now that you have to, as a staff in a small restaurant or shop, whatever service it is you provide, you have to wear a mask, you have to disinfect your hands, and you have to basically they have to have a health checkup as well. It's just a temperature thing, right?
Yeah.
But staff working in restaurants has to have that done as well.
Mm.
And also the measures will be checked every 14 days, because the incubation period for the virus is normally 2 weeks, right? So they're going to check every 14 days and see whether they can further relax, keep it at a status quo, or whether more punitive measures have to be undertaken to stop a potential rise, or even worse, a second wave, like certain places in Japan are now undergoing, which is sad, and to be avoided at all costs.
Right. These waves can come up, but they can be gotten down quite quickly. Now that the health services of governments are getting more used to what they're doing. Like, for example, Singapore had this big,
better prepared.
Yeah, Singapore had this big second wave, but they're already reopening it. So they had Singapore's having these mini shutdowns, but then they quickly released. So
just to contain any further spread, like the migrant working community in Singapore was at a certain point the cause of a second great concern and a fairly dangerous wave, but it's been closed off, so that's good. Okay, well, I guess that's it for the topic of today.
That's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, the rest of it is music. I have a lot of great music today, including all of those requests I mentioned earlier.
Fantastic.
And
friend Crosswell.
So this video doesn't have the music in it, but the playlist, including all the songs I just mentioned as requests, are down there in the description of the video. Obviously, on the radio, the whole thing is edited into a show. So all right,
fantastic.
Lovely to see you, DJ Naim.
Lovely to see you too. We'll be back next week, right? Normally within a month. Also, within a month from now, we should be allowed to enter the studio again, so we'll be able to do live shows again. That's also a piece of news that we can share, right? It will be at least another month like this, if not longer. We'll see what happens. But for now, at least another month like this, until the 31st of May. Because as long as the emergency decree stands, there's minimal occupation of staff within the studios. And since we are volunteers, we've been excluded. I don't feel personally targeted by that. I think it's a normal measure to take.
It makes sense, yeah.
It makes sense. So that's good. So at least until the 31st of May, we will be doing this. But then after that, we'll see. As soon as our beloved Pipan can release it and put us back in the studio, I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
She's as eager as we are. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, well,
bye-bye,
looking forward to that.
Nice week ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This has been...
Careful when you go out there,
Yep, this has been Relax Time Radio, 93.25 FM, broadcast on Radio Thailand, Chiang Mai. Thank you very much.
Under the guidance of the Royal Thai government.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye, everybody.
Next time, bye.